Hey guys, well it's the last day of 2016 and so I'm going to be doing my last video of 2016, which is the best horror movies of 2016. Now I know there's been a lot of people out there that were actually disappointed with the movies of 2016. Like I've heard a lot of people actually saying that this wasn't a good year for movies. I mean, there were some really good movies, but they were saying that overall it just wasn't a good year. But I think 2016 was a good year for horror movies. So think what you want about movies. You could think it was good or bad, but it was a good year for horror movies. But there were a couple horror movies I hated of 2016. And I can name three off the top of my head. One is The Darkness. That one has really disappointed me. It was a waste of talent, a waste of a good director as well. The director directed Wolf Creek, which I really liked. So I actually went to that movie with anticipation. You got the director of Wolf Creek and Kevin Bacon in that movie as well. But it was just disappointing. Just basically a waste on a cliche Poltergeist ripoff. And there was also The Forest. Now, that one actually had potential. It was a good concept, but it was just bland, boring. Not really much went on. There were a couple things at the end though I did like, but overall didn't like it. And the third one, do I really have to mention this one? The Cabin Fever remake. Now, all you know how much I hated that movie if you saw my rant that I did with my friend Alex. So you obviously know I just hated that movie, didn't like it at all. I mean, it's a movie that once you watch, you'll say, why was this movie made? So they took a favorite movie of mine from 2002 and remade it into a crappy remake, one of the worst remakes. It's a remake that gave the Psycho remake a run for its money. And that's saying something right there. So those are the three I can name off the top of my head. And so, why don't we get into ones I chose for the best horror movies of 2016. Before I show the ones I have here on DVDs and Blu-rays, I'm going to name three that are going to be on this list as well that I'm not going to be showing because I don't own them yet because they're not out yet. And so, one is Hush. It's a horror movie I saw on Netflix. That was a pretty good, intense horror thriller directed by Mike Flanagan, who directed Oculus. So, that was actually a really cool horror movie. And another one was Ouija, Origin of Evil, another one directed by Mike Flanagan. So, this is actually a movie that surprised me because of how bad the first Ouija movie was. The first Ouija movie was one of the worst horror movies, as well as one of the worst movies that came out back in 2014. And when I heard that they were doing a sequel, I was like, give me a break. But when I heard Mike Flanagan was directing it, I was actually thinking, I'll give it a chance. And Mike Flanagan actually pulled through and made a good sequel, prequel, whichever one you want to call it. So he actually did pretty good. And so Mike Flanagan has yet to make a bad movie. And the way I see it, Mike Flanagan is the future of horror. Yep, I said it. And another one is Blair Witch. That's another, that was a pretty good found footage movie, a pretty good sequel to the Blair Witch Project. And it's actually a better sequel than that piece of crap Book of Shadows Blair Witch 2 movie. I know there's fans of that movie, but I'm going to be honest, I was never a fan of Book of Shadows Blair Witch 2. I've always hated it and still do. But Blair Witch is the real sequel. Alright, so now I'm going to get into the ones I have picked. So, and this is in no particular order, I'm going to say first. No particular order. But the best ones is at the last though. So, here I will go. First one I chose is The Neighbor. This is one that's made by the guys that made The Collector, and they also wrote the last few Saw movies. So this was a pretty good horror movie. Pretty pretty also like intense thriller as well. I did like the mask that the bad guys wore. Like, may have these missing signs all put together. I liked the shootouts. I liked. I also liked how they like kept people hostage. They didn't really like kill people. So it was a pretty different kind of horror movie. So they like hold people rancid. So it wasn't like typical cliched like hostage movie or like slasher movie. So it was a different kind of horror movie. And another one I chose. This one I don't think a lot of people really saw. It's All Throughout the House. So this was a pretty good Christmas horror movie. I mean, it's not my favorite Christmas horror movie. My favorite one's always Silent Night, Deadly Night. But this one's a pretty good one. I mean, I really liked the atmosphere in this one. I liked the death scenes in this one. They were pretty brutal and pretty over the top too, I might add as well. I'm not gonna say how though. You'll have to see to believe. I did also like how how they really like decorate the sets of Christmas decorations, like for a low budget movie. Like, because with a low budget movie, you can't really expect much out of like effects or set designs. But this one really did pull it off though, so it really did feel like it was actual set on Christmas time. But the weakest thing in this movie though was the acting. The acting really wasn't that good. But the atmosphere, the gore, killer was pretty cool. I mean everything else I did like though. I did a review on this one. You probably remember it. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out right now. It's Clown. So this is one I went on open-minded because it was produced by Eli Roth, and like after I saw the remake of Cabin Fever, I was like saying, okay, it's Eli Roth. Has just gone downhill from this point on. I don't think he can redeem himself. But after I saw this, I wouldn't really say he redeemed himself, but he actually produced a better movie. So it's a movie that's better than the remake of Cabin Fever, but that's not saying much though. So it's a better Eli Roth produced movie, but it's not great by any means though. I mean, I really did like the clown makeup in this. I really liked the main actor. I thought did a pretty good job. It wasn't like a typical killer clown movie. So this one was pretty good. I do recommend this one. The director of this one is directing that Spider-Man Homecoming movie, which I look forward to. So, next one I chose, this one came out on Chiller TV. It's Fender Bender. So this was a pretty good intense slasher movie. Basically, this guy gets to a fender bender with someone, then he stalks that person that he gets into a fender bender with, and then kills them. And then moves on to the next one. So it's probably not the most clever story, but the execution was pretty good though. The director of this movie hasn't directed anything in a long time, so it was pretty good seeing him back. I mean, also the fight between him and the main girl was just pretty intense, so it was worth seeing just for that. Another one I chose. Sorry, I had to clear my throat there. Another one I chose is Rob Zombie's 31. So I know this one got some mixed opinions. I mean, it's not my favorite Rob Zombie movie. My favorite is The Devil's Rejects, but I did like this more than his two Halloween remakes. Even though I did like the first Halloween remake, but I hated Halloween 2. And even though I did like The Lords of Salem, but I liked this one more. And something I have noticed about Rob Zombie stuff is that I should actually say that he's actually better when it comes to making his own stuff and not really remaking stuff, because I think his Halloween movies are his weakest work, but his own stuff like House of 1,000 Corpses, Devil's Rejects, Lords of Salem, and this were better than his Halloween movies. And like, I just liked this one because like I liked how like these friends who are carnies are put in this game of being like hunted down by these killers. They have to fight back for 12 hours to survive. Of course, the best character was this character named Doomhead. He's played by, I'm not sure the actor's name to be honest. Let's see if I can find it on here. I'm not going to spend time actually looking for it, but I just know he played Portman in Doom, and he played Joe Chill in Batman Begins. So he played Doomhead, and he was actually the best character in this one. It's like, he was the best bad guy, overall just the best character, so like he was just the best thing in the movie. I mean, I really liked that scene where he's putting on his makeup and also how he beats his face. I liked his fights, like the two switchblades. His opening scene was this. It's like the action was pretty good, but wasn't filmed that well though. I didn't really like the shaky camera because there was also scenes of the camera was held still, so it was kind of inconsistent at that times. But I still enjoyed it though. No other one I chose, and this is an independent movie that I don't think anyone's really heard of. It's The Barn. This is a pretty good little throwback horror movie. It's filmed like an 80s horror movie. And there's also cameos from Ari Lehman, who played the first Jason, the first Friday the 13th. And Linnea Quigley, who was from Night of the Demons and Return of the Living Dead. So I like their little cameos. I also do like the killers, how we had like this this miner, scarecrow, and this jack-o'-lantern. I also do like how they mostly used practical effects and didn't use as much CGI. So yeah, it was a pretty good little throwback movie. I mean, you can only get this on their official website. Like, if you just find their official website, you'll be able to find it. So that's how I got this DVD, on their official website. So I recommend this one. Check it out. And this is one that definitely got mixed opinions as well. But I overall still enjoyed it, but it wasn't perfect though, and it's Phantasm Ravager. So I feel this one belongs on this list because I feel we should support this movie because it's the last one in the series. It was just really good seeing all the actors, all the characters on screen again for the last time, even though it didn't conclude the story, which was the downfall for this movie. It just didn't conclude the story as I hoped it was. I just really liked how this was like a war movie as well, how it was like basically this war against the Tall Man. And this was Angus Scrimm's last time playing the Tall Man, and as well as his last acting job ever. May he rest in peace. So, it's not the best one in the series, but I still have fun with it. I enjoyed it. Alright, and the next is The Shallows. So, now this was a pretty good shark movie. And that's actually saying something because there hasn't been that many good shark movies since Jaws. And I'm not trying to compare this to Jaws because Jaws will always and forever be the best shark movie. But this was actually a pretty good shark movie. I mean, I really liked also how this was like a survival movie as well. How Blake Lively's character is attacked by a shark, and then she spends most of the movie standing on this rock in the ocean, trying to avoid the shark, trying to do what she can to survive, trying to make it back. So it was pretty good survival, pretty good performance by Blake Lively. And also pretty good effects for the shark as well. I mean, they used some practical stuff and some CGI. The CGI was actually pretty good for the most part. And as well as also a pretty intense fight with the shark at the end as well. Next one I chose is The Purge Election Year. This isn't my favorite in the series. My favorite by just a little bit though, is the second movie. But this one is my second favorite though. I mean, I think, while not being my favorite, I think this is the most creative one though, because I liked how this one like brought in like politicians like trying to stop the purge. I also liked this whole part with these foreigners, these Russians, if I remember correctly, coming into America to participate in the purge, because we find out that the purge isn't a worldwide thing, it's only an American thing. Excuse me. And like, I also did like how like the main girl's like running to she's running for senator, if I remember correctly, because she wants to senator or president, which one. And so like she wants to end the purge because her friends and family were killed in the purge years ago. So she wants to end the purge, but her opponent wants to continue it. So I like also how like, you know, they are trying to kill her, and also her security, who is the guy from the second movie, is protecting her. So I like that whole thing. I also liked the chase scenes in this one. Like, I liked the anarchy as well, like showing the purge outside, like what they did in the second movie. So this was a good addition to the series. It's not my favorite one, but I liked it though. I hear they're doing a fourth one that's going to be a prequel, and I also hear things that they're going to do a TV show out of it now. And another one I chose is Lights Out. So this was a pretty good movie, produced by James Wan and directed by David F. Sandberg. I know he's going to be directing the sequel to Annabelle, which I hope is good, because I didn't absolutely love the first Annabelle movie, but I didn't hate it though. It's like the first Annabelle was okay, but I'm just hoping that the second one's better. So this was pretty good. Like, this one stars Teresa Palmer, who did a pretty good job. Also Maria Bello, who also did a pretty good job as well. I wasn't a big fan of like the look of the ghost in this movie. It's kind of like a cliched, creepy old lady look. But like, I did like how she appears once the lights are off, and when the lights turn on, she's gone. I liked how it got pretty intense at the end. Like, this was good horror movie of the year. One of the good horror movies of the year. Another one is a movie that's directed by the director of the Evil Dead remake, Fede Alvarez, and produced by Sam Raimi, and it's Don't Breathe. This was a pretty good, intense horror thriller. Pretty good claustrophobic environment, pretty good performances by the entire cast, especially Stephen Lang, who played the blind man. Like, I really liked how they have to like avoid him at all costs, but like he can still hear them though. So it was pretty intense. I wasn't too happy with the ending though, but I'm not gonna get into that though. But I did like how this one was like mix of like horror, thriller, and some action. So gore here and there. Not over the top though, like it was in the Evil Dead remake. But I actually had a good feeling ever since I saw the trailer for this movie. This was going to be one of the best horror movies, and it didn't disappoint. And next, which is one that was like a secretive horror movie in the works, and that's 10 Cloverfield Lane. Like, this is one that no one thought was ever going to be made, because like the first Cloverfield, which was that found footage monster movie, was like made years ago, so like there was talks of a sequel, but nothing really happened, and so everyone gave up. But then, boom, here it is. This isn't really like a sequel per se though, so like you don't need to see the first Cloverfield to see this. But like, you know, this one as its own movie, it's still pretty good too. I mean, like, I liked the claustrophobic environment, how this is set in like an underground bomb shelter. Good performances by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, John Goodman, and also the other actor as well. John Gallagher Jr. Fine, under over there. So like, you know, they all did pretty good performances. I liked the claustrophobic environment. I liked the suspense, the mystery as well, like wondering if John Goodman is just a crazy guy or if there really is an alien invasion going on like what he's saying. So I liked the mystery behind that whole thing. So we don't find out until like around the end of the movie, which I won't spoil though, but it's worth sitting through. And another one is The Green Room. It's a pretty good horror movie that stars Anton Yelchin, who passed away this year. May he rest in peace. Very sad what happened to him. And also Patrick Stewart, which is kind of like, you know, a cool thing because we have two different actors from two different Star Trek movies. So it's like, you know, an old Star Trek movie series and shows as well, and an actor from these new Star Trek movies, so it's like old news. It's like, you know, this was a pretty good, intense and brutal horror movie. Basically, like, Anton Yelchin and his friends being held captive, and they have to fight back, so it got very brutal and very gory. And it's one of the best horror movies I've seen early in the year, I might add as well, because, like, normally good horror movies don't come out early in the year. And the next one is one of the best horror sequels. That's The Conjuring 2. So this was another good James Wan directed movie. So like, you know, this was a good sequel. And like, you know, there's times I was kind of wondering if this was actually going to be a good sequel, because like, I was wondering like, how can they do a sequel to The Conjuring? Because like, Conjuring was good as it was. I don't really think it needs a sequel. But it got one, and it was really good. So I liked how this one took place in London. I liked the I liked how Lorraine Warren like went against that nun at the end. I liked also how intense all the tension it got towards the end. So like, good performances, good tension. I also really liked how they mostly used practical effects. Didn't rely too much on CGI, only used CGI when they needed it. I also liked the atmosphere as well. So this was like, you know, just an awesome horror movie. And this could actually be the best horror movie of the year. And anyway, I'm kind of a minority on this one because I know a few people who hate this movie, but I actually really liked it, and that's The Witch. It's like, you know, this I think is the best horror movie of the year. Like, this one was like, you know, just dripping with atmosphere all throughout the movie, and there was no jump scares in this movie. So I really liked how this was like, you know, playing with mystery. Yeah, sorry about that. I mean, if you're wondering why I'm like, you know, just doing this all the time, it's because I'm getting over a little bit of an illness I came down with, but I'm better though. Anyway, let me get back to this. So, this was the best horror movie I've seen this year. This was dripping with atmosphere, had good performances by the cast, and I just really liked the whole mystery, like wondering if it was the people going crazy, or maybe if there really is a witch out there in the woods. So I really liked the music as well. Pretty creepy, kind of spine-tingling kind of music. I also really liked the tone. I really liked the setting. I was like set in like, you know, like the Middle Ages, like in the old days, I should actually say. So I really liked the setting. So yeah, this is overall a pretty good movie. I mean, I know a lot of people didn't like this movie, and you can make a debate whether this was good or not, or whether it was really the best horror movie of the year. But in my opinion, this was. And that's all I really gotta say. So, The Witch is the best horror movie of the year. Alright, and that's it. So, 2016 is coming to an end. So, I look forward to seeing the next horror movies of 2017. And I just hope that 2017 is just as good as this year. If not, maybe better. Keep your fingers crossed. Alright, and that's it. Have a Happy New Year, everyone.